Hello, everybody. All right, guys. I think I'll just jump right into her because I think you guys will all watch this later. Right now, let's see here. Messy apartment in the back. That is definitely a shirt and some socks. Yikes. All right. Just like you, Mr. Hall probably isn't keeping up to date with cleaning and all that fun stuff. See here, today we're going to get into credit and loans a little more deeply. We are going to talk about credit, how you get credit, how you can build credit, how you can wreck credit, how you need credit in order to run your life. What you see kind of down at the bottom right hand side of the screen is that's Venture. That's an apartment building by Hilldale. It's right across the street from me. I live in a less fancy apartment building, but I'd like to live there. That'd be nice. But unfortunately, I'd have to spend a lot more money than I'm willing to spend, and I'm working on my finances and making sure I make the right decisions, rebuilding my credit here, and trying to become a little bit stronger with investments and things like that. So I look at this building across the street every single day. This is a live view of it right now. This is what I see basically from my couch. And I know I want to live there, but I'm making the right decisions right now for my financial future. So I'm okay with just looking at it right now until I get to a point where I'm comfortable doing that. Sometimes you got to make tough decisions. Could I live there? Sure, but I want to make a tougher decision. All right, so understanding your credit. If you look over at the slide here, you can see, credit agencies and the financial system that we currently have. They rank you based on score. 750 to 850, that's excellent. You have no problems getting a house that you can afford or a car that you can afford. Now, if you have like 750 to 850, it doesn't mean that they'll give you $1 million loan. They're going to take your credit score into account with your with how much you make as well. If you look at good, that's probably where most people are at right now, 700 to 750. And then we have fair. That's 650 to 699, and then poor down there. Fair looks like 16% of people poor, 32% of people very poor, 14% of people. Only 28% of people have excellent credit. Very hard to get that. It takes a long time. So credit, what is credit? Credit is the ability to borrow money or access goods or services with the understanding that you'll pay later. So if one of you guys came into my classroom like, hey Hull, I need $10. I want to borrow $10. May I please borrow $10? So I can get some smacking food at the Taco John's. I'd ask you, are you able to pay this back? How long would you be able to? How long would it take for you to pay me back this $10? Have you ever left any? Do you owe other people money? Are you late on their payments? I kind of do a credit assessment of you. At the end of the day, I'd probably just give you the $10, but because I love Taco John's too, and I'll probably, you drive, I'll buy. What is a credit report? This is credit report is what you pull, what a company will pull, a lending company will pull. It's a record of your borrower's credit history from a number of sources. It contains information about, you'll need to know these 6 things: your last known and previous address, last known employer, position and salary, monthly debts and loans, your loan repayment history, credit balances versus available limits, and public records like judgments or bankruptcies on your record. You get this through 3 different credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. If someone pulls your credit, they actually pull a report from each of these, and they kind of take an average, or they take the middle score. Sometimes they only look at the low score. You're gonna always want, that they look at your high score. These 3 credit bureaus, they store your credit information. They're also known as credit reporting agencies. And the 3 again are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Who's all on here? See, we got like 3 or 4 viewers at a time right now, so just want to see who's out there and just type in the chat. Credit reports can be different depending upon what agency is being pulled from and what purpose. Right now, if I go into my Credit Karma, I have 2 different scores because it only pulls from, I believe, TransUnion and Experian. So if I go in there, my 2 scores are 19 points away from each other, TransUnion and Equifax. And it's not, I'm not going to share you the scores, but the 2 that they're pulling from right now are about 19 points away from each other. You get this, you usually get your credit report pulled if you're applying for an auto loan, a mortgage, or a credit card, and employment. Some employers will pull your credit. They want to know if you're trustworthy. If, this score, essentially society has said that this score tells us if you are trustworthy, if you, make good on your promises, have you ever stole from something? Have you ever not repaid something? This credit score is kind of like like a Black Mirror type, are you a good person score. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honestly, if you have a low score, you could still be a great person, okay? Great people that are very giving, people that are very, that would never hurt a fly on someone's head. Some of those people will have bad scores. And some really shitty people will have great scores. In fact, some of the shittiest people I know have freaking unbelievably great credit scores. But, they do what they say, they put their financial situation first. And they have great credit scores to show it. And in our society, that's supposed to be like a great person, or, you want to be this person. It's not always the case. So if you ever find yourself in a place where you have a bad credit score, you're not a bad person, okay? You're a great person. Maybe you had some troubles, you went through a divorce, some huge medical expense, something like that. You're a great person, okay? So your goal is to work on that and get it up, so that way you can borrow money later to help to like buy a car or get a mortgage. So where do we get this from? Okay, so the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971, all this stuff will be on the test, so take notes. Also, I'll post these slides next week here. The Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971, you can make, because of this, you could now make corrections. You could dispute any false data. Like if someone's reporting credit, that you owe them money, or some financial institution says that you owe them money and you really don't, you can dispute it. Before this, you couldn't. But this makes it so that you can dispute this stuff. Only you and creditors can obtain your report. I just can't ask for your social security number or steal your social security number and run your credit report. Your parents can't. Your pastor can't. Like, unless you are signing up for a job that requires it, or you're signing up for an auto loan, or a credit card or a mortgage, or you're trying to finance a futon, and you have to agree to it, okay? Um, and this is, as of 1971, this is the first time you're able to actually see your whole report. So what they see, you see. Before that, it was kind of like, well, you got bad credit. Well, how? Tell me how to make it. Why do I have a bad credit report? It didn't require them to show you it. The Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act of 2003. Because of this, you are now eligible to receive one free credit report from each of the 3 credit reporting agencies per year. So you can pull your credit report for free to see it once per year. I am under the argument that you should be able to pull this every day, every second, whenever you want, for free, no matter what, because it's you, right? This is how they're scoring you. It's like a thing that you own but you don't control. I think it's kind of like, personally, I think it's ridiculous that you can't pull it for your own personal. Like, you can see your bank account go up and down. Why can't you see your credit go up and down? Cool things like Credit Karma now, you sign up, they do a soft pull every week, and so you can check to see if there's any changes every week or something jumps on there. So they're starting to find tools that you can use, that you can check your credit now and be a little bit more proactive with your credit. One reason why they don't want you to pull your credit all the time is because every time you pull your credit, it actually hurts your credit. Like, if you do it once or whatever, it's not going to like hurt your credit, or it might ding you a point or something like that, but a couple points. But if you keep doing it, you do these hard pulls on your credit, it's going to be like, what is this person doing? You know, they make it so, they score it so that the more times you check your credit, the more it hurts your credit, or the more it brings down your score. So you got to be careful with that. So if you, let's say you walk into a car dealership and their classic car dealership thing, or used car dealership, new car dealership, whatever, they'll be like, oh yeah, they want to see if you can actually afford a vehicle. They want to see if you can afford a house. So they'll say like, well, give me your social security number, tell me how much you make, so I know that you can afford this BMW that you're going to go test drive. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time showing you this BMW if all you can afford is a 1983 Toyota Tercel. You know, so let me check. Just give me your credit. Let me do a little report. That's pulling your credit. Okay, so you got to be careful. You got to walk in there and be like, hey, listen, I make this much. My credit is good. Now you can't lie to them. You think you can't just go out for test drives and BMWs? If you know, maybe you can, but maybe you're okay with that. But I'm not comfortable with just going in and test driving BMWs if I can't afford it. But if I can afford it, then I'm going to go in there and say, you're not pulling my credit. I can afford this. You're either going to show me this, or I'm going to go to Milwaukee and I'm going to test drive BMWs over there, or I'm going to go up to Green Bay and test drive BMWs there. So whenever you buy a vehicle or you walk in to test drive one, they're going to try to pull your credit right away, so that way they can negotiate not so much the price of the vehicle, but the loan terms that are going to be connected with it. Because they're going to try to make whatever vehicle you end up liking work. They're going to try to get the most bang for their buck based on how much you can spend a month. Okay? And that credit, when they pull your credit and when they look at that score, then they can put you into a package and say like, this guy really can't afford this car at 60 months, but if I move it to 72 months with a little bit higher interest, then he can afford it. Now I'm going to negotiate with him that way. So you got to be careful when you're buying a car. You negotiate the price. You don't negotiate the payment. Okay? You have to have all your ducks in a row before you go in. Otherwise, they're going to get you into a car that's way more than you're willing to spend for a longer credit time and a higher interest rate. You're going to spend way more than you should. And they're going to do that by pulling your credit and knocking you down. So like, you can't go into If you go test drive 5 different cars at 5 different places and they pull your credit 5 different times that last time, you're going to have a hard time getting a car after that. So don't let them pull your credit if you go and test drive a car. Okay, know what you can afford first, then go in there and say, I know that I can afford this at these payments with this type of lending. Do not pull my credit. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I don't know who you are, but if you don't fix my credit report, I will find you and calmly explain this misunderstanding. With the Fair Credit Act, you can now make, or since 1971, you can make changes to your credit report, and that's great. So this is Liam Neeson from Taken. That's a very good movie. I love that movie. All right, so your credit report is broken up into 6 different sections. Your personal information, address, birthday, employment, the consumer statement, the account histories and scores, public records, inquiries, and credit contacts. So this will be on the test. 6 different sections. These are the 6 sections. Again, this slide will be on your, will be posted up as well. So if you need that slide later, you can always come back to this section and press pause and write that down. All right, here's a sample report. The first 3 sections, your consumer information, and it'll have 3 different columns over here: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and how they score you. It'll have your real estate accounts, your revolving accounts. The consumer statement. I did not make a payment. Okay, so the consumer statement is very important. All right, so if you, let's say you screwed up on your credit or something like that, you can actually edit your consumer statement where you could say I did not make a payment to ABC Electronics because the radio I bought and delivered was in defective condition. They would not repair it, and they would not let me return it or exchange the radio. Since the radio was defective and unusable, I refused to pay for it. But then so that's why I didn't pay that bill, right? And that's why it's showing up on my credit thing, and I'm trying to dispute it. But if my score is a little down because of this ABC Electronics thing, that's why. That's the consumer statement. It's very important. All right, then you have account history. You have the creditor's name. They have all the different information, like the balance and the limit. The date open, pay status, condition, yearly payments. You see these little red marks here? These are late payments, right? Let's see here. I was late. Not I. This is not mine. But in this example, this guy was late 30 days and 60 days, and then he started making payments. He was current. Then this credit union, it was reported that there were 30, 60, 90, 120, and then they closed the account. And then this one. So this is the same creditor, but they might have different information. The creditor might have reported it different to the 3 different credit reporting agencies. If you've ever had a bankruptcy, that'll show up. Any judgments against you, that'll show up. Who's pulled your credit in the last certain amount of time, and then creditor information. This has for instance, if you have a credit card, this is their actual address and this is their actual phone number to dispute something. So if you have a problem, this is the actual number to get a hold of them. If you Google Bank of America, you're just going to be put into a loop. But if you go onto your credit, they'll actually have the number to get through to someone. What's your credit score? It's just a rating, a measure of a person's ability and willingness to make a credit card payment on time. It's just a number. It's determined from your credit report. Your grades are to your GPA as your credit report is your credit score. Some of you guys get bad grades. And I'll say this again, say it 100 more times. Even if you get bad grades or if you blow off my class, whatever, I still care about you. You're still a good person. You're just not interested in this. If you have bad credit, you had some difficulties, you had whatever, you're a good person still. Do not get down on yourself. Some people start to get bad credit and they will sink off they will like jump off the ledge. You can't allow something like this to define you and to make you feel like crap and to to continue the spiral. You have to pick yourself up and go, you know what? I can build this back up. It's not that important. I don't need a new car right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some good financial decisions and I'm going to move forward. So it's very important that you remember that. So it's not as concrete as a GPA, but it's credit scores are so we know, like, we understand how it's actually some of the equation, but we really don't know. So here again, this is the scores. 516 below is very bad. 650 is bad. Up to 700 is fair. Up to 750 is good, and then excellent is 750 to 850. You know, you should shoot for right up in here. I'll tell you, I know a lot of doctors and a lot of lawyers who are in here. And that's okay. All right, they're going to pay a little bit more in interest. They're not going to get as good of terms on certain things, but they're still great people. Their credit score, lots of factors. A complex statistical model developed from thousands of consumer files, right? So they don't just take like your thing, but they compare it against other things in order to get the score. Why was a credit score created? Credit scores came into wide use in the 1980s. They were used before that, but wide use in the 1980s. Used to eliminate judgment decisions, create consistency and equality throughout the populace for extending credit. Your FICO range can be between 300 and 850. A Vantage score could be between 500 and 900. You really won't see Vantage score too much anymore, but your FICO range will be more important. Again, just another chart. 28% of people are about excellent. 10% of people are good. 16% are fair. I'll just be honest with you right now. I'm in here. I'm right in here. And you know, that's not. I'm not proud of it, but you know, you go through some tough things in your life, and it can drop quickly. Your credit score will drop more quickly at like 10 times the speed of how fast you can raise it back up. It's taken me a long time to build my credit score back up, but you know, there was a time where, you know, I was going through some things and my credit score dropped, and it dropped within months. And now it's taken me years to build it back up. How is my credit score calculated? You will be tested on this, so please write down these numbers. Payment history, 35%. Outstanding debt, 30%. Credit account history, 15%. Recent inquiries, 10%. Types of credit, 10%. Scores may be different from report to report depending upon the type of scoring model being used. So like payment history is how many late payments do you have? How many 90-day late payments do you have? Have you ever just not paid? Outstanding debt is like if I have like $30,000 of debt out there and I'm struggling with my payment history, you know, so if I have high balances, especially as compared with the limits, you're going to have that's going to drop, and that's 65% of your credit score right there. Just how well you pay and how much debt you have. That's 65% of your credit score. Now, credit account history is like how long have you had credit for, and that's the hardest one for you guys. You guys can't start out at 850. It's going to take you years to get up to 850 just because credit account history is 15% of it. You have to have a credit history of like 10, 15, 20 years before you can get up there. Recent inquiries, 10%. So if you're going to 5 different car places and they're pulling your credit score every single time, that's going to drop your credit score a little bit. And then types of credit, revolving credit, secured credit. Those types of credit are going to affect your score. All right. So we have just another little thing here, another little chart on how it's affected. What factors don't affect my credit score? Your debt ratio, your debt to income ratio, your income, your length of residence, or your length of employment. Those do not affect your credit history. Those do not affect your credit score. Ned Stark here. I'm pounding through the Game of Thrones, which is nice. With my girlfriend though, she falls asleep about an episode and a half in every time, so we can only get that much done a day. But Ned Stark, it was kind of very sad when he got decapitated. But this is very very true. One does not simply raise their credit score with magic. It takes work and time. So you got to be patient. If your credit score sucks right now, it's okay. You just got to grind it out. Improving your credit score. How do you do that? Pay your bills on time. Keep credit card balances under 35%. Apply for and open new credit only as needed. Okay? Only as needed. Like you need a credit card in order to build credit, but don't charge more than 35% on it. Pay it off every single month. And pay off your debt instead of moving it around. So don't open up another credit card in order to move that credit card debt onto another credit card. They are notorious for like advertising that, especially to young people. Do not open up another credit card to pay off another credit card. Right? You can do a balance transfer. Don't do that. Just keep that credit card, grind it out. Eat ramen, live in a pile of sticks, and pay off that debt. Get it underneath 35%, then get it all the way down to zero. Just make little goals for yourself every single day. You don't need to go out and have 10 martinis every single weekend, and have that expense. Just pay off your credit. Make some sacrifices. It's okay. You're going to be an adult. You can do that. Avoid excessive inquiries and give yourself time. That's the biggest one, is like it just takes so long to build your credit back up. Okay, so if you tank it, it takes a long time. When you start it right now, it's going to take a long time to get it up. You're not going to like that. They're going to give you a credit card for $300. Don't spend more than $100 on it. Pay it off in full every single time. It's okay. Trust me, they'll give you more credit soon enough. Your credit score will rise soon enough. It just takes time. Just don't overextend yourself. Habits for creating a positive credit history. Print clearly on all credit applications. Okay, make sure that you're not writing your name as, like Ron Hull, right? If I were like HOLL, like I got to make sure I write it clearly, or I type it in correctly, because if you attach your social security number to a misspelled name, that misspelled name will come up on your credit report forever. So you got to be very clear about entering in the correct information whenever you fill out applications, because if that misspelling will be on your credit report forever. And then all of a sudden you'll go into like a mortgage closing, you'll have to sign your like the name that was misspelled. You might have to do that. I have a great story about a closing that I did. I can't mention their name like on this, but I would tell you the name like in the classroom. But this person literally was known in the community as one thing, right? But her legal name was something else. And so when she did that, she was like, "No, I've never been called that. That's not my name. My name is this." You've been calling yourself this for 30 years. People know this as you. You've gotten mail as this. That's your name. You have to sign that as your name. She was trying to be like, that was her off the grid name. Guess what? It catches up with you. Hold on, guys. Hey, I'm giving a class right now. Can I call you? Is everything okay? Okay, awesome. I'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, bye. All right, guys. We're just going to end in this slide right here. Print clearly on all your credit applications. Consistently use your complete name. So mine is Ronald Gary Hull. Okay, so I can't type out Ron G. Hull on all my stuff. I write Ronald Gary Hull, and I make sure it's spelled completely the same thing. Set up a budget. Review your credit report 60 to 90 days before making a major purchase. All right, like a home or a car. I would always know what your credit score is. Okay, sign up for Credit Karma. It doesn't cost anything. It'll do a soft thing every week. You know, like just sign up for that, start building it, and then watch it grow and stay on top of it. Okay, and find Google image results for good habits. Why did Mike put that in there? That's silly. All right, so that's all that we're going to do today. You can email me with questions or anything else. Miss you guys. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks since we've done one of these. Do your test. Everyone do your test for Unit 4. I sent out progress reports. Only a couple of you that did not have a passing grade. Guys, just try your best. Let's do this all together. We'll get through this. I'm trying not to kill you guys. I'm going to post some more just effort things that you don't have to do, but it's important work that you should get this practice now before you go out into the real world. Some people have asked me about different investments and mutual funds and credit cards and stuff like that. Call me anytime. Text me, email me. I'll try to answer those to the best possible, or to the best of my ability, and then give you some resources as well to look up yourself or talk to your parents about. So, miss you guys. You guys are awesome. If you need anything, just let me know. Go MG and blank the Bears.